Trayjen, thank you so much for taking part in this closer control case study. It's a pleasure to be over here in the room with us. So, if you don't mind, can you please briefly introduce yourself, a little bit more about your business model and your background?
Yeah, Trayjen based out of Akron, Ohio. Wholesale, innovation, creative, do it all in the markets of Ohio, North Carolina, Georgia, Florida, and Texas.
So, before closer control, how exactly were you managing your leads and follow ups?
Yeah, a lot of manual follow-up. So, half my day was spent on the phones, another half was spent just curating copy for text messages, sending it out, following up. A lot of manual labor went into it. It took a lot of my time. So I didn't get to spend as much time on lead management as I wanted. Putting a lot of time into just going into GPT and saying, hey, give me a fun text for this to follow up.
Too much of manual work.
Yeah, too much manual. Took a lot of time. A lot of management. Took a lot of brain power just to know who to send what, when, etc.
And when exactly did you join closer control?
I joined Closer Control back in May, so I'm about 3.5 months in.
Right. Have you noticed any results when you started using closer control?
Yeah, so I guess I'll just kind of go into detail about what I really like. One thing that's helped me a lot is the seller dispositions. For example, if we're waiting on photos, in the back of my mind, I'm not thinking, oh, who am I waiting on photos for? I go into that tab, it tells me exactly who. Not only that, though, it sends automation. So I don't have to go in there and say, hey, Ricky, I'm waiting on photos, brother. The automation goes in there, tells them they need photos. So there's often times where I'm getting photos in I forgot I needed. They're coming in, and now I have these photos I can go ahead and put together an offer and blast that out. Right? Because we're not making offers on every house without seeing photos. So just having those dispositions and where to categorize people. Just because I see a name does not mean I know what the heck I'm waiting on them for. We've got dispositions like offer rejected. So if I told somebody, hey, I'm going to give you $150K for your house, and they told me to go jump off a bridge, right? There's automations that are going to keep reaching out, and that's probably my favorite, to be honest. The way my brain works is if I give them an offer and they hate it, I'm not like, oh, let's see. Well, here and there, I will. Right, especially back in the manual days. But now that they have the offer rejected campaign going out, it's automatically saying, hey, I know you didn't like your offer. Let's come back to the table. Let's sit. Let's renegotiate, and let's see where we can go. And it's amazing because when they do text back into that, even if they say no, go screw yourselves, we know they gave us the time and attention to respond in, and we get an instant message and notification. And in my head, it's a big light bulb. Hey, call them back. They responded. So that's really unique and something I really like.
Before closer control, how much time were you spending when it comes to lead nurturing as well as doing the follow-ups manually by yourself?
So much time. So much time was spent in the follow-up. There was a point where I didn't want more leads. Gosh, I already have 40, 50 just from this month that I'm talking to. I can't manually keep conversations with all of these people because it takes so much time. People don't realize going in and texting people because you're trying to build the rapport. You're trying to remember where they're at in the lead process. Another fun fact that probably won't come with the questions that I'll bring up, something that's great about Close Control is there's an AI call recording. It summarizes your calls. So in my old CRM, I had to go through and actually listen to my calls just to kind of re-jog my memory. I had to do that for every single lead. So going back through those and listening to the calls, that takes so much time out of your day. Now I go in, I hit the notes tab, and AI summarizes every piece of the call for me. So I know the bed, the bath, the condition. I have all the notes there. I have random little things we talked about that it says just fun notes. So having that in addition to the automations has saved me a lot of time.
That's great. So what initially convinced you to try closer control?
It was actually Austin Pirtle. Yeah, so we were talking. He was posting some stuff on his story. He talked a lot about automations. With my last CRM, I still did have the AI bot making tech, but that was really just up front when the lead came in and scheduled a call. After that, nothing went out. So he posted some stuff on his story. He said, hey, this crazy CRM's got automations that'll do pretty much all the follow-up for you. And to me, that piqued my interest. I come from a marketing background. I did lifecycle marketing, so a lot of automations, funnels, etc. So to me, I knew I needed it because I knew it existed. I'm just lazy. Didn't want to build it myself. So Closer Control is really close to what I would put together myself coming from that background of automation building. I think it really hits the nail on the head with the automations and the cycles because it covers every single step.
So can you walk us through one of the deal where closer control actually helped you in closing that deal faster? Especially, I remember you mentioned last time when we met the Florida 30K deal.
Yeah, so the Florida deal is a example of manual follow-up, but it could have been made a lot more simple had I had the automations in place that went out. I had to manually text her every week. I had to manually call her, right? An example I'll say of moving deals quicker is I'll jump back to that offer rejected or the waiting for photos, right? Those are things I'm not going to be sitting there on a Monday at 2 p.m. thinking about. hey, I got to text Jerry for those photos I was waiting on, right? I'm just not. Nobody is, especially when you have 40, 50, 60 leads that are hot leads. So having that in place helps me move deals along so fast, especially if I can't get them an offer until we need photos. We're going to do a novation, got to make sure it's good condition. If we're waiting on photos and an AI blasts it out and they respond with the photos, that speeds the deal up exponentially for me. If we're in offer needed disposition with my acquisitions guy who puts it in there, it's gonna push me. It gives me a notification to do that. We've set that up through the tasks and the triggers. So offer delivered. If we gave an offer, they didn't necessarily reject, but they're still kind of waiting, we can't get a hold of them, it's gonna send out a text saying, hey, you have our offer, what do you think? And when can we put the pen on paper? So things like that help move deals along very quick, compared to the manual process.
Obviously, before closing control, how many deals were you doing like per month?
It was very inconsistent, and the thing I'm trying to do is master consistency. So, we'd have 1 to 2 deals this month, 3 to 5 one month, but closure control is really helping me nail down the consistency of building a pipeline out and keeping the constant deal flow.
Okay, and after closure control, how much would you say the number of deals which comes in a month increased?
We hit that consistent 3 to 5 of
Okay.
influx. So, we're listing a lot of novations now. We did 5 last month. We have 4 or 5 in the pipeline to list next month right now. So it's really helped us hit the consistency, keep moving along.
On an average, can you tell me a little bit more about the time which you have saved, especially before adopting closure control and also after adopting closure control?
I mean, the time I've saved after switching genuinely is immeasurable because now I'm ramping up more ad spend. I have more leads coming in. I'm adding new lead sources like courthouse data. I couldn't have added those lead sources or increased my lead generation without closure control and the automations because I'm stubborn. I'd refuse to bring in more leads if I didn't know that I could fully attend to them. And closure control really takes that off my hands and gives the attentiveness to the leads that they need. It's nurturing them. It's pushing them through that life cycle. Always, my favorite thing about closure control is it is always trying to get to the next step. I don't know how closure control knows or how the AI knows, but it is always aiming to get to the next step in the sales disposition. I love that. It handles it for me. Sometimes I don't even know that I might need photos. And it reminds me, hey, this guy needs photos. I love that. It really takes a lot of time off my plate. It simplifies things for me and it pushes the sales process.
That's great. Obviously, since you adopted closure control, obviously you would say that the way you follow up as well as even responding to those certain leads has increased, right? So how much are you on track for like revenue this year?
Revenue-wise, I think so I've got 2 sides of the business. We'll keep out the dispo. Just from Facebook ads alone, we're projected 189 so far. But I think it's going to get a lot higher because we did just add novations and creative deals about 3 months ago to the business. So that revenue is based pretty much on cash deals.
So other than the seller disposition stages, I know closure control, it has like 18 different seller disposition stages, extremely detailed, especially when it comes to a wholesaler or let's say a real estate investor workflows, right? So is there any other features which you really like inside the closure control?
Yeah, I think the internal commenting is something that people don't pay much attention to. Obviously, as you're building a team, growing a team, having that in each conversation is so massive because if I go into Slack and I say, hey, on this deal, there's this going on, et cetera, not only will it be lost when we're talking about 50 other deals, we're gonna have no idea what's going on, right? So the internal comments that's in each contact is huge because I'm going up through the conversation with just this one person about this one property. So every internal comment is in there. So I can see all of our conversation history based on that sole property alone. I think that's a really overlooked feature. I think people kind of just glaze over it like, oh, that's cool. But it is really useful when applied right.
Great. And one last question. What would you say if someone is on the fence for trying closure control? Like they're almost there, but then they're just hesitant to take the next step.
Yeah, so anybody who knows me knows that I'm a very stubborn person. I refuse change, and I refuse to push things and products that I do not believe in. You will never hear me say something great about something I don't believe in. I push closure control very frequently. I've been with 2 other CRMs, and the last one I was with, a month in, I was already looking for a new one. So, I've been here 3-4 months, not looking for anything. I do push my friends to it. I think it really simplifies things. I'm a big proponent of buying back your time, obviously. Dan, Closure control bought me back so much of my time that I was able to have the scalability to hire somebody. I was able to have the time to add more lead sources. I was able to do more business. So, to say the least, I would push closure control. It's a good product.
So obviously, when it comes to closure control, one of the things which a lot of our clients say is the support team. Have you have you felt like the support team is extremely supportive, especially when it comes to attending the tickets or even when it comes to like responding to any questions or queries?
Yes, funny enough, we're at a conference right now. We've had two small little hiccups. I texted the team, texted them at dinner at 6:12. I had a response by 6:17. They said, "Hey, looking at this by 6:19, problem solved." That was amazing, amazing. I have noticed over my 3 months that the response time has gotten exponentially quicker. And then we texted them last night. This was a little late text, but we texted them at about midnight, which is outside of their hours, but got back to us first thing this morning and said, hey, we're going to take a look at this. So this one's a little bit bigger of an issue. It's probably something with the bot itself. But yeah, the responsiveness and attentiveness of the support team is something that I love and was my biggest complaint with my other CRM. You know, the support was, hey, we'll get back to you within 48 hours, you know, constant limbo. I'm having to reach out and say, what the hell's going on with my ticket? So the support team with Closer Control is definitely very attentive and puts your problems in a spot to be fixed.
Well, thank you so much, Trayjen, for sharing more about your experiences with closure control. It's a pleasure having you as a client for us.
Awesome. Thank you.